What's up, Divvy Nuts? Bills Billions. I had to make a change on something, and I went through and did it, and I thought it might be really valuable or interesting if I showed you guys my process. For anybody who's not familiar with variants, I just thought I would show you what I'm doing here, and that might help you get a little bit more familiar with like some of the stuff you can do in Figma. So, just you know, without further ado, here's what I've got going on. I'm working at updating or creating some designs for history in uh, bill pay. And so I'm looking at what we've got today on history items, and I'm looking at this is what we've got on mobile. I'm looking at this is what we've got on web. And one thing that I noticed ever since I originally designed these was that I prefer the way that we're doing on web, um, the avatar in this kind of small style, and then there's like this kind of title here, and then there's this the text below it, and then the text has room to go all the way to this edge. And on mobile, the avatar is so big that it's like pushing everything over, and so it's just using up all this room. And sometimes the person isn't that important, especially in some of the concepts I'm trying to design. So this is an old component here, but in uh, some of the new Hubble 2.0 stuff that I'm working on, I've actually built this component. So let me just show you. This is the old one. I'm going to copy and paste it over here um, so I can get this text out of here. And I'm going to show you that I can rebuild this. Let's see, this is female 5. So I'm just going to recreate that over here in this new thing. This is not an initials avatar. This is a persona. It is a female 5. That's the new way of finding an avatar. And then I've got a name, and I've got some text that would go here. And you'll notice that with the new the new auto layout stuff, like this is just grown to the right size. You don't have to worry about resizing it. But that's neither here nor there. Here's a date, and we're going to put that in here. And then also you'll notice there is no caption. So I'll just take the caption off. Cool. So I've recreated this thing. Now I'm looking at this, and in my design, I'm thinking, oh man, that's going to be a lot of work to adjust this avatar to just be inside the text here. The reason for that is if I come in here and I look at, first of all, I've got, I'm not sure, it doesn't do a count, but I've got roughly, you know, 120 or 130 something instances of this variant where I've got to adjust the avatar to be inside there. And the way that this is built is I've got, you can notice over here, I've got a lot of things nested in auto layouts, and that's actually really valuable. You'll see why in a second, but it makes it so I can't simply just like grab this avatar and like I can't move it in here and shrink it from here. That's a good thing because I've actually got what's inside this component, this content default component, is something that I've built down here in its own area. And so I can get in here and make changes, and then those changes will be carried across to all 140 140 instances if I make any changes. So for instance, the first question that I asked myself was, where am I gonna start to make this adjustment? If I wanted to just like hide this avatar and then reveal, I have a hidden avatar layer called small avatar that I could just I could reveal. A couple issues that come up is I already adjusted all of these components to add some padding so that ultimately this label is 24 pixels off the edge. That's because when there's a large avatar like this, we actually bump it over 4 pixels so that optically, visually, it looks like the avatar is more or less aligned with this label. If you really look closely and focus on it, you can tell it's not, but just at a glance, it feels more aligned. So if I were to just hide that avatar and reveal this one, there's some other issues, but one of them is that now I have to go in and I have to remove the padding on the label and then add it to this component like one level higher. So this bottom row and this label are being wrapped inside of content default. So I would go into content default and I would change it from being 20 to 24. The second issue is that I have, you see here I've got mini avatar, but I didn't have that before I started this video. I created it and I was like, oh, I should show you guys how I'm doing this. I didn't have that yet. Um, all I had was this small avatar. And that's useful in places where it's just the avatar and then a piece of text, like a single line of text. This fills the space better. It's the right size. But in this context, it's still too big and it bumps this text up and I would have to adjust some things. So that's not the right size, but I can't just adjust. Unfortunately, I can't just like adjust the small avatar. So what I did is I came in here to the content block and I drilled down to where I had this small avatar and I just duplicated it, renamed it mini avatar. And then I didn't even show it here because I knew what was going to happen. What I wanted was for it to be 24 pixels big, and that is the small size of an avatar. So I duplicated small avatar. Naming is probably not great because this is actually just regular size. I named it mini avatar. Forgive me. And then I made sure that the actual avatar in there was the smallest it could get. And that way, because I did that here in this content block, and that content block is in every single one of these fields, then it just shows up as an option. And so now I'm going to hide that small avatar because it's wrong. And here's the mini avatar revealed. And it now doesn't change the size of anything. So if I hide that, like it doesn't, like this is the right shape. This is the right spacing between these values. And when I reveal this mini avatar, which is only 24 pixels high, it doesn't change any of that. So that's the right size. That's what I wanted to do. And if I'm only done this here, but you can, anyway, you could see if I kind of got us into that state. This one here has a caption. And so you can see now that like, anyway, all this content, there it is. And then the avatar is the right size. Let me take that caption off again. It's for my own peace of mind. So, okay, I could solve it that way. The problem that I noticed, I just thinking through that, I realized if I went through all those steps, it would actually be pretty complicated to like grab all the parts of all the rest of these instances and make those changes to adjust the padding on the label and then grab the higher level container and adjust the padding in on those to hide the large avatar and then reveal the other one and then adjust the spacing on each of those things. It felt like it was going to be a lot. So what I did was, and I'm just going to walk through and do it again to show you, I decided what I would do is start with this history block, which is the version without an avatar. And I'm just going to make a kind of third instance that looks right. And then I'll show you how I'm going to move all of these into history block with avatar when I'm done, and delete all these guys, and we'll be good to go. So let me show you. I've got a plugin that I recommend you download. It's called select layers. I'll send you guys a link if I show you this video. No guarantees that I will, but it's called select layers, and it comes with all of these options. And what I use it for a lot is select layers by name. And if I have something selected, it will search within that selection for layers with the name. If I have nothing selected, it'll search the whole document. I just want to start with these. So I'm going to select all these. And then within these, I know that I created a layer in that content block called mini avatar. So the last thing I did was search for that. So it's still there. I'm going to say select layers that say mini avatar, make sure it's an exact match. And then when I run this, within what I already had selected, it's going to select those layers. You can't see them because they're hidden, but now all I have to do is Command Shift H, and that's going to reveal those layers. You'll notice I already have the right padding because starting from here, I wasn't accommodating a large avatar, so that takes care of that problem. I don't have to deal with adjusting the padding. And then this is actually, I feel like, maybe more space than I need between this mini avatar and this line of text. So since I already have all these selected, I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to say, instead of 8 pixels of padding on the end of this avatar, I want 4. And I think that feels right. I could always change it later. I'm doing the same steps. But for now, that's what we're going to do. And then because I was able to select all those layers, I just made that change for however many 100 items I have here. So done. And because we're using auto layout, all of these things adjusted their size to fit. And so that was pretty quick. And now, because I've already set up all these properties, state and everything, these are good to go. But it's still called history block. I could rename it something called like with mini avatar. But what I actually want to do is just have these take the place of all this. So I'm not sure how this is going to go, but I think it should go fine. And I'm going to show you real time if it works out or not. I am going to make this big enough to accommodate all of the rest of these. And I'm going to double check that the properties on this variant set and the properties on the history block with avatar variant set are identical, and they are. So I've got all the same properties in there. And that's important because when I grab these, just the individual, I've grabbed every individual component in this variant set. I'm going to hold down Option or Alt and drag these out of here. So I'm making a copy. For some reason, it has to be a copy. And I drag it over this variant set and drop them in, and it's just created a bunch of new variants inside of history block with avatar, which is what I want to have access to. Before I do anything else, just as an experiment, actually, I think if I leave it alone, we'll find out if it worked. Right here, I've got some version, some configuration. I think it's this guy right here is the variation that I'm using. And there's another one over here that matches exactly in properties. They're all the same properties. And so actually you'll notice like I've got a warning here. The properties and values of these variants are conflicting. Change the applied values on these variants to resolve this. So like for instance, if I wanted all of these to stay here, I would need to add a variant or add a property on this history block and then give it a different value so that these guys, I would select all these and give it a different value. I'm not going to do that, so I won't go too far in there and become confusing. Actually, all I have to do now, because those properties matched, is delete everything here, and that resolves the conflict. So now there's one version of all those properties again, of all the different kinds of properties. And we're going to find out, I think maybe it's gonna say reset to default, and that I might just be out of luck. I was hoping it would like hold on to the text because it was all within the same variant at the same time, but we'll see. I'm gonna say reset to default. Oh, look at that! And it kept all the text and everything. So now, wherever in my designs I was already using, I had already like used that component, even though I like completely deleted it out of this variant set and like replaced it with another one that I had made because the properties all match. Um, it preserves the overrides, with the exception of the avatar, which is just a problem on its own that I'll have to deal with another time. The avatar is always going to reset on you, and I'm sorry. Um, but anyway, I just want to show you guys that because variants are awesome, and uh, hopefully you were able to get a sense that in just however long this ridiculously long screen recording is, like 15 minutes, in 15 minutes, I was able to change uh, pretty significantly the design of 100 and okay, fine, I'll do the math. What's 16 times 8? Hey Siri, what's 16 times 8? 128 components all at once within 15 minutes. And now if I go back over here, if I had been using the Hubble 2.0, I would be able to see that change reflected and just have to change the avatar because of reasons. So hopefully that was interesting to you. If it wasn't, you can let me know. Actually, you can let me know, and I will apologize. Okay, bye.